Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Hello everybody, and welcome to round one of the Plebian Racing Fantasy Series. Blizzard is my commentator. This is the Twisted Imagination Tour, and along with me I've got, well, I guess I'll introduce myself. I'm new to Plebian Racing's commentary booth. My name is Cody Swanson. It's nice to see you all. And I'm joined by my co-commentator, Blizzard. Say hi, Blizzard.
Howdy, hey, boys.
So today we will be racing at Bay Raceway Park. This is a fictional circuit, and as you can imagine with the Twisted Imagination Tour name, and me tipping us off that it's a fantasy series, this track and none of the other tracks or this track is not real, and none of the other tracks in this championship are real. So it's a very big what if, you know? What if we went to some tracks that didn't exist and did a whole championship there? That's what we're doing today. Yes. And so the format of this race is going to be the 15 minutes of qualifying. There's about 12 and a half minutes left of that right now. And then it will be one stint of a 40-minute race. So no pit stops should be necessary. And we've got a very interesting, I would say, avant-garde sort of punishments, I suppose. Track penalties are going to add weight to the cars. So this is one of the things that you can only do in sim racing, and only as a product of our imaginations here. We're adding 25 kilograms of cumulative ballast after 3 warnings of track cuts. For every track penalty, for every track cut afterwards, you'll get 25 kilograms of cumulative ballast, which will go away after you make 1 clean lap. And so if you can't make any clean laps, you're going to have a very, very heavy and slow car. So the drivers will, of course, not only have to race and race hard and race against each other, but they will also have to stay off of the rumble strips and stay out of the grass, because to do so otherwise could spell disaster and put on the pounds, so to speak. Which, I put on the pounds after the holidays. Blizzard, I don't know about you, but... yeah, so we will be getting underway pretty shortly here. I've got to see... Let's see. Looks like all of the cars are still in the pit box, setting things up, probably waiting under a timer, having their driver's briefing, that sort of stuff. Here's the grid. We are running only one car. This is a spec series with the C6R GTE car. So that's the 2013 C6R GTE. This is one of my favorite cars in Assetto Corsa. This was a United Racing design mod that was added many years ago now, but has held up, holds the test of time. Rear-wheel drive, big V8 front engine power. They do have traction control, but they do not have ABS, which can make for some pretty interesting braking zones. You'll see a lot of diving and a lot of fronts locking, especially on this circuit because it's got so many twists and turns and braking zones where it's not a straight braking zone. You know, you're braking on a turn in. You look at that setup between 2, 3, and 4, especially. None of that is straight, and you know, on the entrance to 2, you're braking into that turn, and on the entrance to 4, you're braking into that turn. And then continuing on, 6 is a braking turn, 7 you're accelerating pretty much all the way through, 8 you're turning while braking, 9 you're turning while braking. All throughout here, it's going to be a lot of tests of the driver's ability to brake and to stay away from each other for sure, because we also are adding ballast after one warning for colliding with another car. So if you have one bump, one little boo-boo at the start, well, you better not bump into somebody else, because you're going to be about 25 kilograms heavier on every single collision afterwards. So Blizzard, you are a bit more of the expert with Plebian Racing. We've got about 8.5 minutes of quali left to go, and none of the drivers have left the pit box yet. Could you tell us why, by any chance, that's happening?
Not really. This is rather unusually, actually. I'm assuming there's some sort of technical difficulties. Usually, I mean, we've had similar issues before, and that's kind of been the way we go about it. Is we just all hold on, and we don't go out on a track, don't let anybody get any extra testing time. And yeah, we usually just kind of wait it out and see what the problem is. I can actually, let me go ahead and start looking into what the issue is, if you'd like to continue.
Sure.
All right, well, we wait for an update on that. Do you want to talk more about this track and car combo? Because I was driving it a bit earlier, and it's fun. It's such a cool car, and I love this track, honestly. I love all the lines, bends. Normally, I'm not a person that enjoys this kind of tracks, but I really did enjoy this track.
Tell me, what have you enjoyed about it, and also sort of what have you found challenging about this track, Bay Raceway, since as it is a fictional circuit, some people may not be familiar.
Yeah. That turn, I believe it's, turn 2 and 3, it's a really interesting braking zone into a, not quite a chicane, almost a little mini chicane. It's,
was a very interesting section, especially with these cars and how easy it is to lock up on the brakes going into those zones. I mean, it was interesting and fun to like learn, really quickly on how to get around that and how to I guess make the car flow through those sections rather than stomping on the brakes as much.
All right, give me just one moment. Would you be able to tell us a bit more about the rest of this championship, and perhaps give us an introduction to who some of the big players are you might think in this series?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me pull up some stats. Let me see if I can find them. My stuff is being a little funky today, but that's okay. A lot of the people you're going to be looking at, I mean, Dave Martin, he's the head of Plebian, I guess you'd call it. Our main guy, the one that sets all this up for us. Great guy. Also a really quick driver. I think I've learned so much from him in the last year, just driving in general, and racing him. He's blast to race against. Also, Conrad, you're going to be looking a lot at him. I haven't raced too much against him, but from what I've heard, dude's quick. There's a few other people in here that I recognize, but there's also a lot of new people that I haven't heard of. So interested to see where that goes.
All right, we're on board now with Carson Schultz going out for his qualifying lap. His last lap was a 1 minute 19.5. And so let's use this as an opportunity to go on board and follow him around a lap around Bay Raceway. Looks like we're starting here on turn 4. Oh, looks like he didn't like that lap and wanted to go back. All right, so we're on a solo qualifying, so the cars are not out together with each other, which is something that I'm frankly not terribly familiar with, which is why I'm a little bit caught off guard on this. But here we are, Carson Schultz going out again. You've driven this track. Take us through it, Blizzard.
Yeah, so coming through the really quick section here in this first section, breaking a good bit into this next corner. This is that corner I was talking about, that 2-3 section. I really enjoy that. It's a really fun section. Going into not quite a hairpin, but just about. Also a very, very hard braking zone in these cars. Again, like you mentioned, without ABS, a lot of these windy corners are just really hard to get. Coming through another fast section here into a pretty hard brake. Again, I'm still also learning this track. I only drove it for a couple laps, but it was a blast to drive. This is what I would call the main hairpin. I like to see, hopefully we can see some moves into that corner, especially with how wide this track is. I think that's something to be mentioned.
I absolutely noticed that. This is a very, very wide circuit. Mm-hmm. And so, these Corvettes, the Corvette C6 is already very wide, and it's got the wide body kit. We're going to see a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing through here, and this is definitely a track that gives us a lot of room to do that. And there we go. We've now seen a lap around Bay Raceway Park on board with Carson Schultz. We'll stick on with him as he does his flying lap here, trying to set a time. Whoa, going cut. Very, very wide on the outside. That looked very much like a cut. Probably invalidated that lap time there.
I think you'll probably see a lot of that during this race.
I think so. And we'll see a lot of very heavy cars, at least for a few laps. Woohoo! Oh, yep. There you go. He was very aware.
And a reset. A reset
He
we
was
go.
very aware.
I'm interested to see how competitive these lap times are. Again, I didn't really get to see a lot of the practice sessions, so I'm interested to see what the lap times can get down to. I'm sure it's a lot quicker than what I was doing, for sure.
So let's see. Now we're going to spectate Zidan Ahmed. I believe in practice he was running a bit further back, but could be an interesting one to watch. This is our helmet cam. Let's go a little bit wider. There we go. He is running. You'll note every driver has a unique livery. You won't see any of the default liveries that came with this car. Some of them are going to be more basic colors, and some of them went a little bit more creative. You saw, I believe it was Carson Schultz, who we were just on board with, who was driving in a Heinz ketchup bottle.
One of my favorites. I love that livery.
Yes, and accompanying the Heinz ketchup bottle is a Heinz mayonnaise bottle driven by Joseph Chow, and a Heinz yellow mustard driven by Randy Finnegan in the 43.
Beautiful.
So those will definitely be some interesting liveries to follow.
Whoa, big
Zidan
slide.
loses it in a major way. Massive crash. That was not how he wanted that lap to go, but hopefully for him, his last lap or a previous lap before that allowed him to set a time. But he won't have any more chances because qualifying is now over. So all of the cars completing their solo qualifying laps, we'll be wrapping those up, and then we'll be going to green very shortly. Let's take another quick look at Bay Raceway Park for a moment. This is a tarmac track, of course, no dirt or gravel sections here. 4,000 meters long, about a normal length for a European or Australian track. 11 turns. We went through all of those on board with you a moment ago, and quite a few pit boxes. We've got 40 pit boxes here. We're not using quite all of them, but certainly enough for our grid today. So there is going to be a bit of a wait time. They're usually about 4 to 5 minutes, and then we will see all of the cars teleport over there to the grid, and we will go racing.
Can't wait.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back, everybody. And you can see qualifying, of course, was over. We've got the checkered flag, which means that The drivers are selecting their final setups, getting things all arranged, and we'll be getting on the grid very shortly. The point structure for this 4-race championship is as follows. In first place, it's awarding 60 points. Second place is almost as much as first place, which is 57 points. Third place, 54, and fourth is 51. And in fifth place, 48 points rounds out the top 5. So there is a lot of incentive to place within the top 5, really within the top 10. 10th place awards 33 points, which is almost half of first, but it's still a lot higher than you get in other series. And it awards points all the way down to 20th, which we don't have 20 drivers on the grid, I don't think. So all drivers will come away with points if they finish the race. But there is quite an incentive to finish a lot closer to the top. All right. We see all the cars over there getting ready to start. Looks like Jeremy Mercer will start on pole as we count down to the green. It's a lot of excitement. This is the part where, you know, all the drivers are looking around at everybody else. They're checking, they're making sure that they've got everything they need. They got their water bottle next to them. This is the part where they go, oh man, I wish I went to the bathroom earlier. Flash the lights, honk the horns.
Done that a few times.
Oh, I've done that before, some Enduros. And soon we shall be off. We're counting down. I would assume that all of the drivers are getting ready to go. Oh, you need to go away. All right. Counting down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And away we go of the Twisted Imagination Tour Round 1. Oh, we've already got a big hit.
Huge
that looks
carnage.
like the mayonnaise car. That was Joseph Chow hitting the wall there.
It looked like
Here we
somebody
go.
had a hard start there.
Yeah, it looks like Ethan Wilson dropped back quite a few positions. Dropped down to pretty much dead last. Williams failed to start in 17th. Mercer's off to a good start in that 633 numbered car. Here we go, around that turn 8 hairpin. A lot of very, very close racing here going on. Here we are on board with Peter O'Brien in the number 640 purple car.
Nice line through that section.
Indeed, you can see James Leeder. He was tucked in right behind the already damaged rear end of Bray. And he seems to be using the slipstream on the straight. He's getting a little bit further ahead. He's glued right to the back of him, and it looks like he's going for a move on the inside. And now the inside becomes the outside. He goes way wide and loses his advantage.
Does make the corner though.
He does make the corner. That is very important. Remember, we have that penalty system where if you go off track more than 3 times, you get your 3 warnings. On the 4th time that you go off track, 25 kilograms are magically added to your car, slowing you down until you have a clean lap.
O'Brien now looking on to Bray. Starting to close that gap a little bit.
Indeed. Looks like Bray's falling behind a little bit. Ooh,
Oh,
there's that
lock up.
locking of the fronts. We knew that that would happen. We mentioned that these cars do have traction control, but no ABS. So you have to manually make sure that you're not locking your tires. Be very careful on the brakes. He got a little bit too hot there. Oh, looks like we have a big fight here in the mid-pack. Willie with some front-end damage alongside Vaughn in the 0 bandwidth car, or let's see, that's Patterson in the 0 bandwidth car. And it looks like O'Brien just passed Bray for 4th. Will
Can
he
he
be
make
able
it
to hung
stick?
up? Yes, he makes it stick.
Makes it sick.
He is able to hang on to it.
Beautiful move. A little bit of a lockup there from car ahead. Couldn't quite catch who that was.
I think that's Leeder.
Leader, yes, correct.
This is Bray looking on to O'Brien. He was just passed, but you know, of course, they qualified close together. They've got the pace. Can he catch him, or will O'Brien continue to pull away? Looks like O'Brien's getting a bit further behind, or further ahead there, sorry. Let's look the battle on the straightaway. It's a drag race between Vaughn and Patterson. It looks like Patterson wins out. But Vaughn has an excellent line through that corner. Let's see if he can slingshot up the inside. Yeah, he doesn't quite. He pulls out. He knows that there's still 35 minutes of race to run. He's not going to go for it that crazy just yet. We still have a fairly tight grid here on, let's see, I think we are on lap 3, or yeah, just beginning lap 4, I think. Looks like Schultz is near to Mercer. We saw Mercer had pulled away at the very start, but it looks like Schultz is reeling him in that Heinz ketchup livery.
Slowly but surely closing this gap. Good
Absolutely.
exit, setting himself up for this next corner.
We are on board with Schultz. This is a very good position to be in whenever you are attacking. It's always a more comfortable position to be behind than to be ahead and to be defending. Because all you have to do when you're behind is stay behind. But if you're ahead, you've got to stay ahead, watch your mirrors, make sure he's not going too close to you, so you have to start defending. And any little mistake you make, you just know he is going to be right behind to gobble up that delta. Just like there, we had a bit of a early braking zone from Mercer, maybe a little bit too early. Carson Schultz was able to get a 10th out of that. He's carrying more speed through the faster corners than Mercer is. But it looks like Mercer's better about getting on the power than Schultz. Schultz getting very near to the edge there. Oh, it looks like we have Conrad in the pits and limping his way in.
Looks like he took a bit of damage. Might have had a spin. It did
Yeah,
see
it
him
looks
drop.
like it. That's a pretty heavy crash right there.
See if he can recover from that.
Yeah, I see some pretty heavy damage. He is pretty far back from Medina, and Medina himself is pretty far back from Monroe. Martin here is getting closer to Chow in the battle for 6th.
Good exit. You might be able to catch him here on the straight.
Yeah, looks like he's got the draft using all that V8 power. He's alongside him. He has the overspeed. They are neck and neck going down that very, very
Who
wide
wants it more?
corner. Oh, looks like Martin gets it. A very, very clean pass. That's how it's done for sure.
Can he keep it though?
It's going to be a series of drag races in these cars for sure. Although this is a very curvy, turny track. You know, you have that straightaway and sort of a twisted straight in Sector 3. Oh, wow. Chow going very, very wide. It looks like Martin is going to hold on to that as Patterson actually starts to approach Chow. It looks like Chow might be losing 2 positions here this lap. If Patterson has his way. Whoa! Big wiggle from Chow. Chow is off. Chow is into the wall. And Chow has teleported back to the pits and out of the race. Oh, man. That was a heavy hit for sure. He wouldn't have been running away from that one.
Oh, for sure. Another off here.
That looks like Willie. Saucepan Willie in the red car. Whoa, he's having some major issues. Oh, and another. And collected with him. That's Vaughn. That's Brett Vaughn in the. Let's see. That's the 299 Team Z car.
Does manage to keep it running though.
Yeah, he's back up and running, but he lost, looks like 4 or 5 positions there. Finnegan's turned around on the start-finish straight, and he's off. Wow, when did we get such carnage just all of a sudden? 6 laps in, and we've just decided that grip is no more. We're just going to slide everywhere. My goodness.
These cars are very easy to slide for as big as they are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And also, it's worth noting that a lot of these guys have been very heavy on the brakes. I've seen some locking of fronts. Could be that even in this, sprint race, we've got some flat-spotted tires, and that doesn't grip as well as it would otherwise. Could be. Looks like the battle for second, is heating up. Leader has the overspeed on Carsten Schultz, my bad.
Taking the inside line here. Doesn't quite make it work.
Nope. It looks like Schultz took a very, very brave turn 2 to maintain his second position.
Still trying to close his gap. Any 10th he can get here is going to help him out.
Oh, it looks like he gets one because Schultz had a bit of a wiggle there. Here's Leader putting the pressure on. Taking a very different line from Schultz. Schultz, you could see, taking quite the defensive line around the inside there. Leader using all of the space. And let's take a look at Schultz on the defensive here. You can see that Heinz tomato ketchup livery in all of its wonderful glory. That's Leader behind in that very teal car.
Nice solid exit.
Light blue. Looks like he's maintaining, but might have a little bit of an overspeed on Schultz. Leader, you can see looking down the inside. He's getting closer. Oh, he backs way off. He's much more conservative around this corner. Ooh, catches that inside there. That was a very, very rough bout. Yeah, he maintains it, Leader does, but the bounciness caused him to lose a 10th, so he'll have to work to regain that. This is the battle for second between Leader and Schultz. Schultz, you could see just touching the grass. That wasn't enough to count as a corner cut, but it would be enough to just rattle him a little bit.
And something to point out, all this battling is giving Mercer a really nice lead here.
It is, absolutely. He's just doing hot laps. Look at that. 5 seconds ahead. Nobody's around. It's a clinic right now.
They just got to keep it on On course.
Absolutely. Here's Leeder. Oh, he's fallen half as much again as far behind as he was before we switched away.
This battle's also giving O'Brien a chance to catch back up.
Indeed, I think he was 2 seconds or 1.5 seconds behind, and he's looking like a little bit more of a dog in the hunt. You can see this is O'Brien's POV. Got a very late exit there. And you can see that it's things like that that's just keeping him away from those two up ahead of him. But he is close enough. He has the pace. He can see it. But he can't quite participate just yet.
He needs him to battle just a bit more.
Which I think if they get closer, which looks like Leeder is 0.5 seconds off of Schultz now, as they start to fight it out a little bit more wheel to wheel, we'll definitely see O'Brien and perhaps even Bray coming into the fray.
We have a spin
backwards.
there.
That's Monroe, Dejas Monroe, in the number 617 car. Oh,
Nope,
and it looks like
decides to go back to
he
pits.
has returned to the pits, indeed. He hasn't retired. We've had 4 retirements in this race so far. I'm sorry, 3 retirements in this race so far. But he's just in the pits. I guess he'll be doing repairs and then getting back out. But Leeder is getting very, very, very close to Schultz now. He's right on his back bumper. And just as we had predicted, O'Brien is capitalizing on that and getting closer to the both of them.
Just about taste it, but not quite.
Absolutely. Look at that. He is absolutely glued. He's looking here to the inside here on turn 8.
Bit of a lunge.
All important turn 8. Woo! Neither of them had good exits there, which allows O'Brien to get real close. Look at that.
Beautiful battle.
It's a 3-way fight now.
And again, this is the battle for second. So this is definitely a position you'd like to have.
Oh, absolutely. That exit onto the start-finish straight is a tricky one, because if you run wide there, you're going to hit the wall, and you do not want to do that, because that will be the end of your race, to say the very least.
Definitely did that once or twice in practice.
Yeah, it looks like Finnegan is a DNF.
Yeah, Leeder just really jumping over those 2 and 3 curbs.
Yeah, very aggressive lines around that corner in particular.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, Schultz, he is absolutely putting on a masterclass in maintaining a level head right now. Because he sees his rearview mirrors. He knows they're there. He knows that they're beating down the door. And there's also a bit of a psychological thing where he is, 7 seconds behind Mercer. And Mercer's way up there. But then you have 3 drivers that you can see in your rearview mirror.
Right.
And it's just like, oh man, am I the slow one? But if you look at the lap times, if you look at his pace, he's not, They're just also quick. And they've caught up, but they still have to get around him. And he's not going to make that easy for them. Leader's going to try it, though. Here he is with the pass. There he goes, alongside.
We're on the outside.
Will he get it
inside for this
done?
corner. Not quite yet. He's just
Ooh.
about there.
On the ragged edge, Schultz is able to hold him off.
Beautiful defending from Schultz.
Absolutely. Leeder has been just absolutely sending it through that corner, that turn 3. And Schultz has been having to meet his energy in equal measure if he wants to stay out in front.
something we haven't talked about, and I think is also very important, is the tire wear he's putting on. You know, this is a battle that's continuing. It's continued since the start of the race, and we still have 22 minutes left, and I feel like he's really going to be degrading these tires right now. So maybe that's something also to watch out for.
I think so. I think Leeder is going to be... Ooh, Schultz getting a little bit off into the grass there. Leeder going around the outside. Whoa, Leeder going way wide, but he gets the pass. But only for a moment. Whoa, Carl Schultz with the locking of the brakes to get ahead, but that was not the right move.
It's a three-way drag race.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Here we have Leeder. Look at that.
Beautiful.
3 wide down the front stretch.
Who keeps it?
Whoa! Looks like Carson Schultz is going to pull it off for now by the skin of his teeth. And looks like Leader's going to slot back into second.
And after another lap, nothing's changed.
Yeah. You would think that everything would change there. Carson Schultz on the entrance to the front straight had a much worse line than Leeder. Leeder was able to fit his big wide Corvette halfway alongside. O'Brien got his nose in there as well, but Carson Schultz was able to, like I said, meet the energy in equal measure. Wow, is that our first lap down car? That is our first lap down car. So there we go. Yeah, that's Medina. So we now have a car a lap down in this race.
Struggling a bit with pace.
Yeah, this is Mercer here, who is in a class all on his own. And then here's Carson Schultz, still miraculously and expertly holding on a second. Whoa, looks like Medina has a hard spin into the wall. Wow, that was a heavy hit for Medina. That's not what he wanted to see.
Not at all.
We got Medina and Monroe filling out probably some paperwork.
Also, something we seem to have missed was Finnegan. Finnegan being taken out of the race.
I mentioned it. We were in the middle of a battle. I just mentioned it. But yeah, Finnegan had some incident where he DNF'd from something.
I think Medina's going to make it our 6th retirement of the race.
If he retires, I think he'll be repairing that damage and then getting back out there, but he'll be effectively out of the race. It'll just be for points. Like I said, you've got to finish in order to get points in a race.
Looks like this battle's starting to heat up again. Could be another drag race off the start.
Very, very tight. Let's go to O'Brien's POV. He certainly has the best view of this fight. So this is what he's seeing as a driver. Helmet cam. Here in the braking zone, Carl Schultz taking a early apex, but then getting real wide there. That allows Leeder to get a little bit of an overspeed. Did he pop out too soon? They're alongside each other. Well, it looks like Schultz loses the position for now. And here we go. Whoa! Schultz going way wide. Way off in the grass. That's going to be a corner cut. He's got way too much speed.
A bit of a walk up into the gravel.
A little bit. Oh, tremendous. Tremendous save there, but that was a risky move that did not pay off.
Not at all.
Instead of losing one position, he lost. Yeah. Absolutely.
We have struggling with that weight.
That's a possibility, because that may have been his. No, I don't think he's cut the track that many times though.
If he hasn't, he's getting close to it.
I agree. We have word from the YouTube chat that Finnegan's internet crashed. So it was an incident, but it was not an on-track incident. Unfortunately, in sim racing, we chalk those up to a mechanical.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see him back next week, though.
Hopefully. Leeder has taken his position as second now, and O'Brien, who was just happy to be involved at first, has moved up to a podium position into third. And Schultz, he's got a lot of work to do. 1.5 seconds behind. But it looks like O'Brien's saying, you know, hey, knock knock. Here I am. I got one position, I can get another.
A new challenger approaches. Looks like Wilson lost out of position there to Willie.
Yeah, they're in the mid-pack. Looks like Willie, who's got both front and rear damage. Oh, you know what? It might be that some of these drivers are dealing with the ramifications of colliding with other drivers, because there's only one warning. Oh, you see Ethan Wilson missing his pit box here. You only get one warning for a car-to-car collision. You can collide with the environment all you want, but for a car-to-car collision, you get one warning, and then they're adding 25 kilograms of ballast per incident until you have a clean lap without it. Pardon. Looks like we're spreading out a little bit more here on the lead, but O'Brien's trying to maintain it. He's getting a little bit closer now. Oh, but then a lockup, and he's going to get a bit further behind. Got a very slow car there that looks like Charles. That's bonus Charles.
Perhaps getting a bit of blue flags there.
I don't know if it's blue flags. It might be ballast. It might be ballast. Although his car looks pretty clean, so it might be a track cut ballast.
Could be.
Oh yeah, I'll bet it's track cut ballast. Sliding off of there. Almost getting in the way of, let's see, that's 612 Dehas Monroe. I think, actually, no, is that? Let's see. Switching through. That's Bray. Sorry, that's Jeffrey Bray. And the 612. Oh, looks like our leader is in the pits. Mercer. This is a race that you typically have not had to pit in. Looks like... Oh, it looks like a drive-through. He had a drive-through penalty.
Not sure where you picked that up from.
That's a very... Yeah, that's a very good question. I didn't know that we were running drive-through penalties in this. We may not have been. That will be a post-race question for Jeremy Mercer for sure.
Although losing that massive gap he had, he's going to have to try to make that back. Although, with the laps he was running, he might be able to.
I think he'll have the ability to, for sure. It's just a matter of time at this point. He's only got 15 minutes. I don't know. Do you think he'd be able to make that?
We'll find out. Looks like O'Brien dropping a bit back from leader, now down to a 1 second gap from I believe it was a 0.5.
Yeah, it was there a minute ago, but leader is
really
living up to
dropping
his
off.
name. Oh my goodness, yeah.
3.8 behind now.
Let's take a look at Schultz's driving. That was very close to a corner cut. Not quite there, but a bit of a touch in the grass.
Just on the edge.
Mm-hmm. I think it may be. You know, you had mentioned it at about the halfway mark, but tire wear coming into play. Yeah, that was there we go.
Wide.
Him running wide. I think that was a result of him having used up his grip at the beginning of the race, fighting to stay on top.
He has been using very tight lines onto some of these corners.
Mm-hmm. Which could be very heavy on the tires. O'Brien 1.3 seconds back now. Looks like he's not quite as tuned to the top speed. It looks like Leeder has been consistently losing O'Brien on the straights. And then here you go, as we go into the twisty bits, he kind of regains that time just a little bit.
Gaining a tenth or two, and then again losing it back on the straights.
Part of that can be explained by just the natural rubber banding of the cars as they accelerate and decelerate. But it seems to be that O'Brien's dropping back, especially so on the straights and the fast corners. But then on the more technical sections, he seems to catch up to Leeder. Schultz is dropping even further back now, 5 seconds behind.
And Mercer's starting to close this gap again.
He's working on it. He's working on it. 6 seconds behind 4th place, but he's in the top 5 still.
I believe he's still running the fastest lap if I'm...
Yes, actually, by a good margin.
Big
He's
off
a
there.
solid half second ahead of all of the other laps this past lap.
And I mean, maybe that's why he's so on the edge there. I mean, like you saw him going off not once, but almost twice. Good job saving it though. Still keeping it on track.
It'll be devastating if he ends up with one of those ballast punishments for doing that. But so far, it seems to be working. There we are here in the braking zone, 4 seconds back. Of course, rubber banding to about 5.5 now. But he's chasing Bray. Here we are on board with Mercer.
Really attacking every corner, just using every bit of the track that he can.
Going under the bridge here.
And into the final corner, back onto the straight.
As we hit the 10-minute mark, 10 minutes to go. We are 22 laps into this race now. And Mercer's getting closer and closer still. The car directly ahead of him is the lapped down car of, let's see, I believe that
Ooh, almost a collision there.
Ethan Wilson. Ooh, yeah. He does get around it clean, but that was a bit too close for comfort.
I think trying to move out of the way just a little bit late, but makes it work.
We'll take a look back in at our top 2 here. This is O'Brien chasing Leeder, who is the leader of the race.
And I mean, what a way to take first, too. Beautiful fighting in that midsection, and then out of nowhere, a stroke of luck and a lot of skill puts him into the lead.
Absolutely. You know, as I was mentioning towards the start, Leeder was in a very good position as he was chasing Schultz to just stay behind and wait for a mistake. He wasn't pushing so hard, except for on the straights, you know. He would get an early apex and just drag race on the straights. But then through the corners, Schultz would really use all that he could on you know, getting the most out of his tires. And I think that we just saw that take its toll. Whoa!
Whoa,
Leader
big
going
off.
way off. All of the drivers are going to be dealing with tire wear at this point. 7 minutes, 40 seconds left to go
Good recovery,
of this
though.
40-minute race.
Let's see how that affects it. I mean, O'Brien gains a second off of that. Let's see if he can make anything out of this. Just chasing down, really trying to gain any small advantage that he can.
You can really see from this onboard O'Brien using all the space that he can. Look very, very close to the inside there. Cuts in a little bit more than he could, but that's just to get a better line around here. Cutting in, touching the rumble strip. Almost touching the rumble strip there. He's not quite being able to catch up to Leader, but he's about maintaining where he's at.
Mercer also really starting to close that gap.
Indeed, he's been about 4 seconds behind last time we checked in with him, but he's getting very, very dangerous for Bray. I think he was going for a wide early apex and couldn't quite get it done there, so I don't think this will be his time to get it, but they're not rubber banding. They are. He is catching up, but I think that's because he's in the slipstream now. And I think this braking zone, he might try to make a move. Woo!
Really sending it through that section.
Yeah, you can tell he wants it very, very badly. 5 minutes and 30 seconds left to go of this race. There's only a few laps left. And Mercer, he's got the top 5, but he's not satisfied with that. He will have to get around Bray and make up another 4 seconds if he wants to catch Schultz for 3rd for a podium position. At the beginning of this race, he was way out in front. He was quite dominant, Mercer. But he ended up pitting. We'll have to figure out exactly the reason why. I think it was a drive-through for some reason. Ooh, wide around there. He's looking really, really hard for an opening, and Bray is just not giving it to him.
Can't quite find it. But I mean, every lap he's starting to just gain another 10th.
Mercer's car is very, very good on top speed, but looks like Bray is maintaining strong. This is a very, very tricky corner to get right, to maintain a lot of speed through. He does it
Good exit.
masterfully. Masterfully. Ooh, gets a little too close for comfort there. But they do avoid a touch. At this point, for most of the drivers that have been in this pack racing wheel-to-wheel, a touch is going to result... Ooh, a bit of a slide there. A touch is going to result in that 25 kilogram ballast, which will be very, very painful here at the end, because there might not be another lap to shear that off.
Might only get another 2, maybe 3 laps at most. So really got to make do with what he can here.
And think about Bray. You know, he's held on to 4th for quite a while now. He's gotten very comfortable in 4th place. And then here's the previous leader of the race knocking on the door at the very end, saying,
And I wonder if this pressure is just going to cause a mistake.
You mean this pressure?
I'd say that's some
Look at
pressure.
that. Oh, he goes for it. The inside line's going to quickly become the outside line. Here we go. Whoa, but he really slingshots it around and makes it work.
Master.
Mercer's in 4th.
Beautiful move. Really good defending though from somebody like Bray. I mean, that Mercer's a hard opponent, man, and with how quick he's been this race and how long Bray defended, I mean, very well done from him.
Mm-hmm. Bray's about a second behind Mercer at this point, and I think that gap's only going to grow, unfortunately. Bray did a very, very good job of holding Mercer off, but now that Mercer's in front and has an open track ahead of him, there's not a lot of stopping that speed. Especially not with only 2 minutes to go. Woo! Bit of a bounce there and a bit of a running wide.
Onto 2 wheels for a good bit.
Yep, I'll bet you weren't expecting wheelies when you tuned into this broadcast, were you? Let's take a look at the front. O'Brien's getting closer to leader here in the final minute and a half.
Might have had another mistake, closing that gap rather quickly.
This is the battle for the lead, and O'Brien is not willing to go quietly into that good night. O'Brien has not seen first place at all in this race, but he has been right up behind it. There he is, half a second back. Here we are on board with O'Brien, going down the start-finish straight into turn 1 and 2. This is the last minute of the race, so this is most likely the last lap of the race. The battle for first, 0.5 seconds
Really gonna have to
separates
push
these
here.
two. Yeah, it's all or nothing for O'Brien, and it's also all or nothing for Leeder. Leeder has to really, really hold off O'Brien here. That's a tricky position to be in. You know, Leeder, as we have seen throughout this race, fought his way to be here very, very hard with Schultz and in a way with Mercer. And now, as they reach the very, very end, the final lap, O'Brien's wanting to take that away from him.
And we're starting to get towards the end of the lap here. I mean, he really doesn't have much time to make this move work if he's going to get it done.
Nope. 2 corners to go. And then it's the end of round 1 of the Twisted Imagination Tour. Final corner. Is Peter O'Brien going to get it done? Doesn't look like it.
Not
And
quite.
your winner is James Leeder. O'Brien takes second. Carl Schultz brings home the catch-up in third. Jeremy Mercer takes fourth, and Bray rounds out your top 5.
Beautiful race from Leeder. I mean, amazing battle in the very beginning. Just making it work. Getting the move done. And a stroke of luck.
This was some excellent, excellent close racing between all of these drivers on the grid, putting on a fantastic show for us. This was some really, really fun racing. The 3-way battle between Schultz, O'Brien, and Leeder was just something to behold. My
3
goodness.
wide into turn 2 and 3. I mean, it was just awesome to watch.
Mm-hmm. Here's Dave Martin in the Plebian Racing car. We haven't looked at him too much, but he crosses the line in a respectable 6th place.
Quiet 6th place.
And slides off in celebration. Patterson for the Zero Bandwidth Motorsports comes in 7th. Willie is in 8th. Ethan Wilson rolls it home in 9th. And Brett Vaughn in 10th. And Bunis Charles rounds out 11th of all of your finishers. Congratulations, everybody. This was a excellent race. Now let's see if we can pull in Leeder for some interviews. Would you be able to grab Leeder for me?
Let me see what I can do for you. Give me 1 second.
Hello, hello. Blizzard and I back again. We are here with the winner of the race, James Leeder.
Hey guys.
Well, first off, congratulations, and tell us how it felt out there. First and foremost.
Thanks guys. Yeah, it was a very intense race. First of all, the first few laps were a bit hectic, but we kind of ended up getting into line there a little bit. Mercer started to pull away, and that's when I caught up to Carson, started fighting with him, and then Peter caught up to me, and we had this three-way battle for a long time. Eventually, I think there was some lag that was involved, and we got by Carson, but Mercer had made a mistake with his strategy and needed to go into the pits. But the rest of the race was just me trying to hold off Peter and him, me and him trading lap times. I gained a little bit of a gap at one point and thought I was safe, and then made a mistake and went off and lost a second and a half, and he was right on me again. And then we just stayed like that till the end. The last couple of laps especially, he was gaining a few tenths and was all over me on that last lap. So no rest the whole race. That was a heck of a race.
Yeah, O'Brien absolutely kept you honest for sure.
Yeah.
Throughout that race. How do you think tire wear played a role in, I would say, the race in general, and then in your victory specifically?
Surprisingly, the tires were pretty good, even toward the end, because there were some of the guys that were trying to save tires, be a little bit more cautious. Mercer especially had assumed that the tires would go off and he'd have to make a pit stop, and that's why he didn't even fuel enough to make it to the end and had to end up pitting. But yeah, I was able to go the whole race, and I was pushing really hard the whole time. I thought it might come back to bite me, but the tires were still okay at the end. They were definitely a few tenths down, but I think some of the other drivers being a little bit more cautious with their tires and trying to make sure that they'd last to the end, they were a little bit slower, and I just pushed them harder and was able to get through a couple of those battles and make my way up to the front, and then just didn't have them fall off at the end.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Definitely made it pay off in the end.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned that some drivers were strategizing that the tires would fall off more than they did. This is round one of a 4-race championship with points. How do you think that this is going to shake up the remaining rounds now that we've got a little bit more experience with these cars and with these tires?
Yeah, I don't think anybody tried the 2 sets of softs with a pit stop. That was another one of the strategies we were talking about. I think most people settled on mediums or hards. So I expect some of the other races we might see people experimenting with the 2 softs with a pit stop, but it seemed like the putting on some mediums and just going the full race distance is kind of the way to go. So yeah, we might see people doing the same strategy. We might see a little bit of experimentation. It kind of depends on the track.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. I want to pull in Jeremy Mercer to talk about the tire situation and his pit strategy. I'm not quite sure if I still see him on though. Blizzard?
I also cannot find him. I believe left already, unfortunately. But
Okay.
getting a good bit of insight there from Leader about what did happen, because we were questioning about what did happen to Mercer, and it looks like we got our answer.
Yeah, it looks like it. The tire strategy more so than any punishments or anything like that. And I had kind of questioned myself on that. It was like, he looked like he was driving pretty clean, and he was definitely far enough away from everybody else at the time that he didn't have to worry about running into somebody twice.
Sure.
So now we got our answer. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to the stream. This was round 1 of the Twisted Imagination Tour. And we will be back next week. Correct, Blizzard?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, we will be back next week at Weatherfield Raceway, which is another fictional circuit somewhere in Florida.
Also a fun one. Can't wait for it.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys had a great race, had a great time watching, and we will see you for the next one. Bye, all.